You ever look at someone who's super successful and wonder, what's their secret? Is it luck? Are they just born with it? Well, according to Claude M. Bristol's classic, The Magic of Believing, the answer is something way more powerful. And honestly, it's something every single one of us can tap into. So let's dive into Bristol's big ideas and see if we can turn them into a real, practical guide to unlock your own potential.
Bristol kicks things off with this absolute bombshell of an idea. We become what we contemplate. I mean, just let that sink in for a second. This one sentence is pretty much the key to everything. It suggests that the real difference maker isn't what's happening around us, but what's happening inside our own heads. The thoughts we choose to focus on day in and day out.
So, here's our game plan for this explainer. We're going to start with the secret power of your thoughts. Then, we'll get properly introduced to the engine that drives it all, your subconscious mind. After that, we'll get into the fun stuff, the actual tools, like suggestion and mental pictures, before we tie it all together to show you how to turn belief into your actual reality.
All right, let's jump right into the deep end with the first big idea, the secret power of thought. This is the whole foundation, the idea that your internal world quite literally builds your external reality.
I mean, really think about it. The phone or computer you're watching this on, the chair you're sitting in, heck, the entire building you're in, it all started as just a little spark, a single thought in someone's mind. Bristol says that thought is where every single achievement begins. But how does a thought actually get stuff done? Well, that's where belief comes in. Belief is the secret sauce.
And Bristol is super clear on this. This isn't some fuzzy magical concept. He says belief is a real practical force. It's a skill, something you can learn and get better at, just like anything else, to smash through challenges and nail your goals. Belief is what gives your thoughts real-world horsepower.
Okay, so if belief is the fuel, then what's the engine? Well, it's time to meet your subconscious mind. Think of this as the powerful, behind-the-scenes machinery that takes your most dominant thoughts and starts making them real.
Now, to really get its power, you've got to see how it's different from your regular conscious mind. Your conscious mind is what you're using right now to listen to me. It's logic, it's making decisions. But the subconscious? Oh, that's the real powerhouse. It's where your instincts live, all your stored memories, and, as Bristol calls it, the true source of your power.
The way to think about it is that your subconscious is this incredibly loyal and powerful assistant. It doesn't ask questions, it doesn't judge, it just works 24/7 to carry out the orders that your conscious mind gives it. Whatever you think about most, that's what it gets to work on.
And this quote just nails the relationship between the two. Your conscious mind is the architect. It draws up the blueprints, the thoughts. But your subconscious mind, that's the entire construction crew with all the heavy machinery ready to build whatever you designed. They're a team, and when you get them on the same page, wow, look out. Okay, so we've got this supercomputer in our heads. How do we actually program it? Well, that leads us right to the first practical tool from the book, the art of suggestion.
Suggestion is basically just feeding instructions to your subconscious. Now, this can come from other people, sure, but the really powerful stuff comes from yourself. That's called autosuggestion, and the secret to making it work is so simple. Repetition, repetition, repetition. When you constantly tell yourself something, you're carting that belief into your subconscious until it accepts it as a fact.
But here's the thing you absolutely have to remember. Your subconscious doesn't play favorites. It's totally impartial. It has no idea if a belief is good or bad for you. It just acts on whatever you feed it most often and with the most emotion. This is exactly why your internal self-talk is so critical, because negative thoughts, repeated over and over, are just as powerful as the positive ones. It's a double-edged sword.
All right, now for a technique that takes suggestion and just cranks it up to 11. We're talking about crafting your mental pictures, or what most of us today call visualization. This is a game changer.
So a mental image is like a detailed blueprint you hand over to your subconscious. When you create this really vivid, clear picture of what you want, and you keep bringing that picture to mind, you're basically giving your subconscious a GPS coordinate, a clear target to aim for. You start to attract what you constantly imagine. And to show you just how real this is, Bristol tells this awesome story about a young salesman named Bob. Now, Bob was completely terrified of his biggest potential client, who was this super intimidating, powerful millionaire. The fear was basically freezing him in his tracks. So the advice he got was, well, it was a little weird. He was told to stop picturing this guy as a giant of industry. Instead, he needed to visualize him as something totally ridiculous and not scary at all, a harmless, goofy, dancing bear. The whole point was to just shatter that mental image of fear and replace it with something funny.
And guess what? It totally worked. By just swapping out that one mental picture, Bob's fear just, poof, vanished. He strolled into that big meeting feeling confident, he saw a dancing bear in a business suit, and he closed the deal without breaking a sweat. See? That's the power of changing the movie playing in your head.
So how can you do this? It's pretty straightforward. First, get a super clear, high-definition picture in your mind of what you want. Second, you got to visit that mental picture consistently. Don't just do it once. And third, and this is the absolute key, you have to feel it. Believe in that picture with every fiber of your being, as if it's already happened.
Okay, so we've covered the mindset, the mental techniques. But how do we cross that bridge from just believing something to actually living it? The last piece of this whole puzzle is, you guessed it, action.
Bristol gives us another really practical exercise for this. It's called the mirror technique. And it's as simple as it sounds, but it's incredibly powerful. You just stand in front of a mirror, look yourself straight in the eye, and you give yourself a pep talk out loud. State your goals. Affirm that you believe in yourself. You say it with conviction. This actually combines the power of suggestion with the visual of seeing yourself being confident. And look, this isn't just theory. The whole book is filled with real-world examples. Bristol shares stories of people building fortunes in real estate from nothing, turning around failing businesses. All of them started by creating this rock-solid belief and then, and this is key, backing it up with real-world action. And that brings us to the most important point of all. You have to get this. You can visualize and affirm until you're blue in the face, but as Bristol says, faith without action is dead. Your belief is the engine. It provides the power, it sets the direction. But action is the car. You still have to get in and hit the gas.
So, I'm going to leave you with this one big question to chew on, straight from the heart of the book. If you could plant one single powerful belief deep into your subconscious mind, right now, what would it be? What is the one belief that, if you truly deeply held it, would change absolutely everything for you?